Hey, everybody, welcome back to the GOAT Show. We have another behind the scenes episode with us, and we got John joining us. Hey, John, how's it going?
Hey, Doug. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Awesome. So today, John asked some pretty good questions about COPE, which is a strategy we have used for clients, which means create once, publish everywhere. And we thought, why not use this as an opportunity just to go through why we use the strategy, how we use it, and how it helps clients create content more efficiently. So, John, I'm going to leave it to you. We'll just do this as a back and forth Q&A, but fire away.
Okay. Well, I guess just for context, maybe we could talk about just like what is the principle of COPE? Like, why do we preach COPE to all of our clients? What's the significance of that practice?
Sure. So, one of the biggest things we believe with our clients specifically is every one of them has amazing stories to tell, number one. And number two, they all have unique expertise within their areas. Now, a lot of our clients tend to be ag related in this case that we've used COPE for. So they have specific expertise as to how their products work with seeds, for example, or why their seeds may be better in different regions. And instead of selling by feature benefit, we learn through story, and more often than not, we buy through story. So we use COPE as a really efficient mechanism to tell those stories instead of pitching based on feature benefit. And the unique thing about COPE is it's not just designed alone for creating content and just a mountain of content you're going to share across social, but it aligns really well with a framework we use called Upside, which is a framework from Eugene Schwartz. It's in a book written in the 1950s called Breakthrough Advertising. And if there's any marketers watching the show, it's kind of the Bible for most marketers. But the Upside framework is a very specific way we buy from unaware of a problem, being problem aware, solution aware, your solution, so the company you're representing, and then decision or deal. And when you align the right type of content at the right step in the customer journey, you'll see your conversions go up, but you'll also see the lifetime value or how much somebody spends goes up. But the challenge and where COPE plays a piece in that is how do we create the right type of content for each stage so we're telling the story in the order that matters.
Yeah, I like the idea of not just pushing out a mass of content. It's not about how much you produce, it's about when you produce it and what you're producing at specific times. Is there like what would you say is the most effective way of using this? I guess maybe it's situationally and it depends on kind of the context you're in, but is there a time when COPE doesn't work or there's an ineffective way of using COPE?
That's a really good question. And ironically, everyone right now has been talking about AI. And what AI is enabled is you can produce an absolute ton of content. But the thing that's paramount, and we'll go back to the point about storytelling, the most powerful content is the one that provides the most value for where somebody is in their problem stage. And I'll give you two examples. One, so Mary Meeker, I can't remember the name of her consulting firm, but every year she produces something called the Internet Report. And it's a compilation of all the statistics around uses, like what people are doing on the internet, trends that are coming out, and it's just one seminal piece. Now, what's interesting is that one piece has been used by hundreds of thousands, but millions of people to say, hey, here's where the internet is, here's where it's going, here's how to leverage or predict what we should be doing in a strategy. But from her side, that focus on like an absolutely amazing high quality piece of content is something she's then going to be able to use in keynote addresses or other presentations in her research with clients. So the one thing when you think about COPE is don't isolate it to digital. And that's a mistake we see a lot of people. And our advantage is we work across multiple mediums from print, direct mail, digital, social, speaking. We have a lot of people who have sales teams, so they're using some of the assets in the field or to text to clients as proof. So if you can just broaden your sense of how you can use content beyond just social, I have yet to find a case where Cope isn't something that's useful. Where we have seen people latch on and get the quickest adaption to it is using it for social. So for example, they may have a webinar that they did, to talk about a specific issue, taking that webinar and breaking it up into social elements. And you've done an absolutely amazing job at taking Cope to another level with even taking static images from presentations and turning them into videos. So I think some of it's just the understanding of how do we apply existing assets and creating new uses for them. And that's probably the simplest iteration of Cope. But for me, I've yet to see a point where it's not useful or not applicable.
Yeah, I like that. That makes a lot of sense. Would you have any other advice for people if someone were to come to you and say, I have this piece of content that I've made, or I'm looking to make some content. Would you have one other piece of advice that you would give someone in order to maximize how they're using this main piece of content that they have or that they want to make?
I think the biggest challenge for most people is they'll watch a webinar or they'll watch some like TikTok that says, hey, here's the fast way to 10x your company. And they treat content as a growth hack. For it to be effective, people need to take a step back and look at how important the customer journey is and understand that if you can align the right pieces of content in the right order to help people understand a problem, understand that it's solvable, and they can work with you to solve it. If you just bucketed your content in those three ways, and maybe a fourth, maybe some testimonials to anchor a decision or encourage people to buy again. But if you just focused on those three things in the beginning and look at what assets do we have? What have we done before? What was the killer presentation that got our best client to buy? And then how can we reverse engineer that presentation to introduce things in that order? You'd be in a really, really good position without having to create this massive ecosystem, without having to produce 10 posts per day or need to hire a completely massive team, but just really understanding the customer journey is going to make it easier to create meaningful content.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Awesome. I'm not sure if there was anything else that you wanted to add.
No, the only other piece when it comes to Cope is it can seem overwhelming. When you start, don't think that you have to be in every channel, and don't limit it to just one thing like digital versus offline. Understand that you're just trying to give your clients information to make a better decision. And you probably already have assets that you can use and repurpose in different ways to get there. And I'll say for anybody who's in B2B, the one single thing I can say, if you have a video that tells your story and how you've helped customers, those two assets alone can be repurposed as either short clips that you can give to your salespeople, and they can just forward them via text as follow-ups. Those are really simple, powerful things in B2B that a lot of people miss and aren't leveraging from the marketing team to the sales team to close more sales.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Awesome. I love these short ones. I hope everyone got a lot of value out of this. If you like this, comment below, tag John, make sure that you ask him some specific questions. We will build out this content to help you based on what you're looking for. And until next time, everybody, have an awesome day.